Hello and welcome. Good morning. How are you? Welcome to a new program. Welcome to a new class. Class number 959, right? Right. Yeah? All right, 959. We're moving slowly but surely towards class number 1000. And as usual, I always say the same thing. Will we continue? I have my doubts. But who knows? You never know. Nunca se sabe. ¿Se dice en inglés? Nunca sabes. You never know. You never know. On ne sait pas. On ne rien sait. You never know. Okay, you never know. But in any case, let's start with a couple, only 2 or 3 expressions. I'm on page 91 at the bottom. If you don't have the book, buy it. It's a good book. At the bottom, to get something off your chest. This is my chest, el pecho, the chest. Chest. Chest también significa arcón. Chest o baúl, no, arcón. Chest. A chest of drawers es una cómoda. It's a chest of drawers. Arcón de cajones, dice. Okay. Chest of drawers, the chest of drawers. In fact, we say chest of drawers. Chest of drawers. Chest. Now my chest is el pecho anatómico. With women, we often say breast. Breast. Como pechuga de pollo también. A chicken breast. Breast. But chest is the anatomical part. Now, to get something off your chest. Estoy obsesionado con esto. Tengo que desahogarme, quitar la espina clavada. I need to get it off my chest. To get off my chest, dice desahogarse. Gracias por escucharme. Necesitamos desahogarme. Thanks for listening to me. I needed to get that, ese tema, to get that off my chest. You know, for women, for men, if there's a problem, the man wants to solve the problem. But for women, they also want to solve the problem, but equally important is to share the problem, to talk about it. The wife comes to the husband, darling, we have a problem with Jennifer, our daughter, and says, well, what's the problem? The husband, I'll speak to the principal of the school. Well, what she wants is to share the problem, to get it off her chest. To get the problem off your chest. Yes, vayamos a tomar una copa y si te puedes desahogar. Let's go for a drink and you can get some things off your chest. Yes, to get them off your chest. Yes, quitar el peso que te pesa por encima. Yeah, te abruma. To get it off your chest. To get it off your chest, and then at the top of page 92 is practically the same. To get something out of your system. Desahogarse también. Sacarlo de tu sistema biológico. So, desahogar, pero también satisfacer un deseo. Siempre he deseado estar delante de una cámara de televisión. Por fin, finally I'm in front of a television camera. Hello! Hey! Can you see me? Hey, I can't see you. Marta, I can't see anybody. All right. Finally, mi deseo reprimido durante 1000 años. And finally, I get it out of my system. Yes. Ya no es una obsesión. Lo he extirpado un poco. Yes. In my opinion, he just needs to have a good cry and get everything out of his system. Okay. Mi opinión, él necesita desahogarse llorando. Que llore! Yeah, cry. Yeah, I feel better now. After crying, yeah, I think I'm okay now. To get it out of my system. To get it out of my system. To get it off my chest. And one more. Yeah. One more is in the middle. The second expression on page 92. Expression 346 is to get the hang of something. I'm starting to get the hang of it. I'm starting to get the hang of it. Yeah. Nope. I'm going to try to balance it. I'm starting to get the hang of it. How do you say? Cogiendo el tranquillo un poco. Aquí dice, pillándole el truco a algo. I think I'm getting the hang. Hang como colgar. I think I'm getting the hang of it. Do you? No. I thought I was getting the hang of it. Pasando al pasado, but now I'll keep trying for tomorrow. Tomorrow, but I'm starting to get the hang of it. Pillarle el tranquillo algo, al truco. I'm starting to get the hang of it. Isn't this? You understand? To get the hang, como colgar, of something. I'm starting to get the hang of something. All right. Gain fluency. Page. Vamos rápido ahora. Page 50. Page 50 at the top. Paragraph number 421. Raising children. ¿Cómo picas tú? Raising children. Bringing up children. Dos formas de decir crear hijos o niños. Raising children. Yes. Isn't the easiest job in the world. I guess he knows. She has to raise Victor. Okay. Raising children isn't the easiest job in the world. You have to find the right balance, right? The right balance. You have to find the right equilibrium, the right balance. You need to know when to be firm and when to show affection. You need to know when to be firm. ¿Cómo? When to be firm. Firm. ¿A cuándo ser firme? Claro. Firmeza y cariño. When to be firm and when to show. Mostrar afecto. Cariño. And when to show affection. Affection is cariño. Affectionate, cariñoso. Afectuoso, bueno, más tirando a cariño que afecto. Affection. An affectionate person. Yes. Sometimes if I'm signing a book, in the book fair, for example, and I know the person personally, it's a friend or something, sometimes I'll put, if it's a woman, if it's a man, no, I'll put affectionately, cariñosamente, con afecto, vamos, con cariño, affectionately. Raising children, to raise. I raised 2 children. I brought up 2 children. Now my daughter is bringing up 2 children. She's raising 2 girls. And my son is raising 1 girl. Yeah, I have 3 granddaughters. Raising children isn't the easiest job in the world. You have to find the right balance. You have to find. Have aquí suena como la V como una F dura. Have to find. Siempre con esa obligación tener que, esa V se convierte fonéticamente en una F fuerte. You have to find the right balance, balanza, equilibrio. You need to know, necesitas saber, you need to know when to be firm. Británicos. Yes, you need to know when to be firm. When to be firm and when to show affection. Okay, maybe. Yeah, you need to be firm. Otherwise you spoil the child, right? You spoil the child. Consentir y estropear. Yeah. So, the next one, paragraph 422, near the top of page 50. This is true. When my mother was expecting my sister, she was working in an office. When she was expecting me, she was 6 hours a day on the piano. I have a musical ear, but my sister doesn't. Yes. My mother was a good pianist. She was good. In San Antonio, Texas, maybe 10 years at the equivalent of a conservatory. So my mother played the piano very well. Yeah. And when she was pregnant with me, she was a stay-at-home mom. Se dice mom. Mom es mamá en inglés americano. En inglés británico suelen decir mum, M-U-M, mum. Y dicen mummy, pero mummy también significa momia. Mummy, hi, mummy. Mom, we say mommy, or mom. Hey, mom and dad. Mom and dad is mamá y papá in the United States, mom and dad. And in Great Britain, mom and dad. I think mom and dad. A stay-at-home, stay-at-home. Says una mamá que se queda en casa, ama de casa mamá. Una mamá, ama de casa. A stay-at-home, quedarse en casa. A stay-at-home mom. My mother, starting in 1948 probably, became a stay-at-home mom. When my sister was born in October 1948, my mother became a stay-at-home mom. And she continued as a stay-at-home mom for the rest of her life. And so in 1951, when she was pregnant with me, I was born in November 1951, she spent a lot of the time playing the piano, waiting for me to be born. And the music, I suppose, was entering, into the womb, and affected my musical ear, maybe, because my sister doesn't have a musical ear, and I do. So I think I was fortunate in that case. Fortunate. Lucky, unlucky, la música me persigue. Yeah, I cannot escape music. It's just everywhere. All right. So when my mother was mucha X, siempre recordar. When my mother was expecting my sister, she was working in an office. El Departamento de Carreteras del Estado de Texas, the Texas Highway Department. When she was expecting me, she was 6 hours a day on the piano. She spent 6 hours a day on the piano. 6 horas será mucho, pero okay. I have a musical ear, but my sister doesn't. She doesn't have. I have a musical ear, but my sister doesn't. Okay? All right, the next one. 423, page 50. She's been living, esto es sobre mi hermana. She's been living in Colorado for 23 years, ahora más. She's been living in Colorado for 23 years. Colorado, el estado de Colorado. She's been living in Colorado. Curioso, los de Colorado no dicen Colorado. They say Colorado. Colorado. All right. She's been living in Colorado for 23 years. Her original, su original idea, her original idea was to settle with her husband in Oregon. ¿Cómo? Oregon. Where? Oregon. Órgano, un órgano. No, Oregon. Okay. Oregon. Yeah, Oregon. Mi órgano está en Oregon. My organ is in Oregon. Where? My organ is Oregon. Y mi trono está en Toronto. My throne is in Toronto. Mi trono está en Toronto. All right, Oregon. We don't say Oregon, okay, Oregon. This is not true. The original idea was to settle with her husband in Washington State, just north of Oregon. They fell in love with Washington State, but they couldn't settle there. To settle has many meanings. But one meaning is ya sentar la cabeza y comprar casa y afincarse ya en un sitio de forma ya. To settle. Settle down means cálmate. Settle down. Calm down. Settle down. Settle down also es asentar cabeza para un joven loco o Viva la Virgen. Mire, ya está. Ya tienes que ser un adulto responsable. Now it's the moment to become a responsible adult. You need to settle down, get married, buy a house, start a family, and become a responsible adult. I don't want to. Okay. All right. So she's been, lleva 23 años viviendo en Colorado. She's been living, she has been, contracción she's. She's been living in Colorado for how long? For how long? For 23 years. She's been living, I've been living, you've been living, she's been living, they've been living. She's been living in Colorado for 23 years. Her original idea, su idea inicial, original, her original idea was to settle with her husband in Oregon on the Pacific coast. Cuando dices en la costa, decimos siempre on the Mediterranean coast, on the Atlantic coast, on the Pacific coast. But they finally decided to settle in Denver, near the ski slopes, cerca de las pistas de esquí. Slope es una inclinación, una pendiente, una pendiente, no, un pendiente es una pendiente. It's a slope. Yes, slope. Near the ski slopes, because both my sister and her first husband enjoyed skiing. All right. So they finally decided to settle in Colorado. All right. Paragraph 424, page 50. If you visit him, this is true. This happened to me. This happened to me in 1992, the summer of in August 1992. I visited a farmhouse, un granjero típico del medio oeste americano, con su granja, su granero y su casa, y la familia vive ahí en el medio de la nada, con su algodón o con su whatever. All right. If you visit him, si tú le visitas, if you visit him, you'll see that he seems like a normal farmer. He seems like a normal farmer. With his tractor. With his tractor. Yeah. ¿Y qué más? And his farmhouse. Casa de la granja. Yeah. Como la casita de la pradera, ¿no? And his farmhouse. However, in his barn, como suena, barn is granero. In his barn, he has 2 computers connected to the futures market in Chicago. This is true. I was with a group of Spanish executives in Carthage, Illinois, and we visited a farm near Carthage. And the farmer was he seemed like a normal farmer, but he had a good farm, It's maybe, I don't know, 20 hectares. I mean, it was a lot. And in his barn, he had computers. And they were connected to the Commodities Exchange, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, el Mercado de Futuros de Productos Agrícolas. He was buying and selling. He was a rich farmer. He was a rich farmer, about 55 years old. If you visit him, you'll see he seems like a normal farmer. Verás que parece un agricultor normal. Yeah, if you visit him, you'll see he seems. Verás que él parece. Podemos insertar that. You'll see that he seems. Pero solemos saltarla. You'll see he seems like a normal farmer, no? Yeah. Yeah, he seems like a normal farmer. Farmer es agricultor. Granjero gestiona las granjas, que son granjas lecheras. Agricultor, una explotación agrícola de cultivos. But in both cases, farmer. Un granjero de vacas is we say a dairy farmer. Dairy is productos lácteos. All right, so the dairy farmer. A farmer is agricultor. But it's generic, also granjero. So if you visit him, you'll see he seems like a normal farmer with his tractor and his farmhouse. However, in his barn, he has 2 computers connected to the futures market in Chicago. The most important futures market in the world is Chicago. ¿Te suena mercado futuros, no? ¿Sabes lo que es? ¿Ah? ¿Qué significa? Okay. A futures market is very, very important. If I'm a farmer, okay, and in March or in February or March, I plant wheat, trigo. The wheat is harvested in July or August. And I spend a lot of money for the seeds and for planting the wheat. And then the wheat is growing, and I'm dependent on the crop. La cosecha cada año, I'm dependent on the crop. And if in July, 2 weeks before harvest time, a 2 semanas de la recolección del momento, 2 weeks before harvest time, there's a thunderstorm with a lot of hail. Una granizada. Wow. And it destroys my crop. I've lost everything. I've lost 1 year of income. So it's very insecure for farmers. You can have problems with hailstorm. You can have problems with locusts, langosta. They come and things. So the farmer, in January or February, sells his crop on the futures market. Another person buys, another person or entity buys the crop, buys the harvest for a lower price, of course, expecting a good year. And that person can make a lot of money, but he can lose money too. But usually it's a company that buys 500 harvests. La empresa compra 500 diferentes cosechas 6 meses antes de la recolección. You understand? So if one has a problem, no problem. Because the 499 are okay. And this farmer receives the money in February, you see, for the harvest. But he has to continue working because he has an obligation or a responsibility to the futures market company. So it's a very, very important concept that provides security for the farmer. And farming, family farming, is a high-risk business. Agro businesses, sometimes many farms are owned by big companies. So the risk is lower. But in any case, this is interesting. So this farmer, in his barn, has 2 computers connected to the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. The official name is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, el Cambio Mercantil de Chicago. But we call it the Commodities Exchange or the Futures Market. Commodities son productos que vienen de la tierra. O también animales de ganado, the futures market. The commodities. A commodity is something in which usually the only consideration is price. For example, oil, petroleum. It's a commodity. Yes, basically it's the same chemical formula. So when you negotiate, the only consideration is price, not necessarily quality. Now, if you buy an English class, quality is important. Lo barato es caro en mi sector. Pero el sector del ácido fosfórico no, es ácido fosfórico. And so that's a commodity. English classes are not a commodity. All right, I think we have time for one more. which is paragraph number 425 on page 50. If you're meeting with Frank later today, I think there's something you should know. He and Maggie have just separated, and she's taken the kids to her mother's house in Kansas. Whew. Wow. Tintinas. Oh. Yes, Marta is going to meet with Frank later today. And I say, listen, Marta, te estás reuniendo luego con Frank. If you're meeting with Frank later today, I think there's something you should know. He and Maggie, su mujer, have just separated, and she's taken the children to her mother's house in Kansas. Whew. There's a big problem here. Yeah, I'll come back with this paragraph tomorrow morning, all right? In the meantime, study some English, okay? And take care.